You know the lock. You've seen it end fights in MMA, Judo, and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. A shoulder-shredding twist of leverage and willpower. But behind the technique stands a man whose life was harder, darker, and more relentless than the move that bears his name, Masahiko Kimura. A legend forged long before the world ever heard of the Gracies, long before mixed martial arts existed, long before the word Kimura meant pain. Kimura was born in 1917 in Kumamoto, Japan, a quiet place that produced anything but a quiet man. He stepped onto the tatami at 9 years old and never stepped off. By 15, he was already a fourth-degree black belt. By his early 20s, he became the first man in history to win the All-Japan Judo Championships 3 years in a row. And then, he kept going. For 14 years, nobody could beat him, not in Japan, not overseas, not anywhere. Kimura trained like a man possessed. 5 hours of judo a day, thousands of push-ups, endless uchikomi until his fingers bled. He believed that if he wasn't collapsing from exhaustion, he wasn't training hard enough. His teammates called him Oni no Kimura, Kimura the demon. Not because he was cruel, but because he was unstoppable. But every legend has a moment that defines it. For Kimura, that moment came in 1951 in Brazil. A challenge was issued by a thin, wiry fighter named Helio Gracie, the man who helped create Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. Helio was smaller, lighter, and physically overmatched, but he had heart, technique, and a nation behind him. The stadium was electric. Japan versus Brazil, Judo versus Jiu-Jitsu, tradition versus innovation. Kimura outweighed Helio by nearly 80 pounds. He threw him with crushing power, osotogari, uchimata, ippon-level slams that would have ended most matches. But Helio refused to quit. Then, Kimura locked the arm, a reverse udegarami, a shoulder lock so devastating that Kimura himself once said it could destroy a man's arm beyond repair. Helio would not tap, so his corner threw in the towel to save him from permanent injury. From that day forward, the technique carried a new name, the Kimura. But Kimura's story didn't end there. He wrestled professionally. He traveled the world. He fought giants, boxers, and wrestlers in hybrid matches decades before MMA existed. He lived through triumph, controversy, and hardship, yet he never stopped training, teaching, or fighting. Today, every time a fighter locks that figure four grip, every time a shoulder bends the wrong way, every time a crowd gasps as a joint is pushed past its limit, they're witnessing the legacy of a man who pushed himself past every limit he ever had. Masahiko Kimura, not just a technique, not just a name, a force of nature, a legend of combat, and the man behind one of the most feared submissions in the world, Masahiko Kimura.